before we take that Sports Center segment. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I figured you'd try to find a way to skip out on that, baby.
Yeah, that one, yeah. I'll do the big finish, though. I think that's good. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Urban Meyer releases Tim Tebow, Joel Embiid signs an extension, and Sean Payton has a quarterback dilemma. But we begin today with our new best friend, Dak Prescott. Prescott practiced lightly last night, and head coach Mike McCarthy said that if Prescott doesn't play in this Saturday's third exhibition game, he won't play in the exhibition season at all. Now, Wilbon, McCarthy and Jerry Jones had previously said it was important for Prescott to play before the actual season started. Do you think it's important he plays in the exhibition games?
Tony, I don't know about important. I think it's important he get healthy. That's important, however you measure that. Whether you need to see him in an exhibition game, if you're preseason game, if you're the coach, okay. But first of all, I don't believe anything that any of these coaches and owners and GMs say during the preseason because it doesn't matter. It's like saying, okay, this guy's my starter. They announced the starter in February. No, he's not your starter because you don't have any games in February, March, April, May, June, July, or August. So stop. So in the case of Dak Prescott, who now has his money, they need to make sure he's healthy going forward. They don't need to lie to the public. They don't need to state it over and over again to this interview and put it on social media. They need to know whether or not he's healthy and put him out there and see if he can play when that is determined.
Yeah, I don't think it's important he plays in exhibition games at all. He's been there 5 years. He knows the personnel. Mike McCarthy's offense is not rocket science, but like you, I want to know, is he healthy? I think if he was completely healthy, Mike McCarthy would stand up and shout from the rooftops, get off him, get off me, he's 100% good, we're all right. I haven't heard that. I've heard precautionary MRIs. I've heard let's send him to the Texas Rangers to be looked at. I think the Cowboys have allowed the medical sort of uncertainty to simmer and linger. I'll tell you this, Mike, if I ran the Cowboys, I'd put him out there in this exhibition game for one series. So I can say to people, shut up. Now, I don't know that I'd let him pass the ball.
If he's not healthy,
he passes the ball, if he passes the ball like Cam Newton from last year, then we got a problem. I just think we're going to have this story for a while. I do.
You know what, Tony? I think people need to stop making declarations during the preseason. It's the damn preseason. Go about your business, get the team ready, stop posting things on social media, and shut up. But they're not going to do that. And the medical uncertainty is what they commented on every day, and that's why we have this. The tight end experiment is over for Tim Tebow. The Jaguars released Tebow this morning after he struggled blocking in his first preseason game. Coach Urban Meyer said Tebow's lack of tackling experience kept him from contributing then to special teams, adding, quote, players loved him, locker room loved him, but it was the right thing, close quote. Tone, what does the Jaguars' release of Tebow say to you about Urban Meyer and his transition to the NFL?
I don't, Mike, think it says anything sweeping at all. I think he looked at Tim Tebow, who he loved from college and probably brought him on for sentimental reasons, and decided he couldn't play in the NFL as a tight end, which doesn't surprise anybody because he was a quarterback, and it's hard to make that transition. I think when you cut a guy from going from 90 players to 85 players, that's way different than cutting from 55 to 50. When you cut a guy from 90 to 85 in the first cut, you're saying it's over, son. This is not something you can do. And Urban Meyer's got to win games. He's not Santa Claus. You know, this is what this is the job he took.
You know, when I heard this, Tony, this morning, this meant nothing to me about Urban Meyer. I didn't even think about Urban Meyer. It meant something to me about Tim Tebow, who, you know, it's not like we're boys, but I've talked to Tim Tebow a few times in my life, and actually some conversations that meant something to me to listen to him. And I like Tim Tebow. You know, I always have. I thought some of these things about some of the hype was crazy, but I just like him. I like hearing him. He's been on this network, probably other networks too. I like listening to him. I hope this means he will now do what so many others have done before him. When time is up on whatever the field or diamond or court is, and they find the microphone and a blazer and they go, oh, this is pretty good because I can stay right here. I sit next to somebody often who a lot more famous than Tim Tebow, Magic Johnson. When it was over, it's over. and you go, okay, here's a new role. I think Tim Tebow can be great in that. He's a star. He's fun to listen to. He is a nice person in my experience. I don't care about Urban Meyer and the Jaguars. I could give a damn. But I want to hear Tim Tebow. I hope he's front and center continuously.
So Tim Tebow has been on television. He's got a job on television.
Yes.
And Mike, it obviously does not satisfy him completely.
Well,
he appears to be a career athlete. He has tried baseball. He's tried football. Look, there are things he could do. I mean, he could go on America Ninja Warrior, or they could bring back, ABC could bring back Battle of the Network Stars, and he could host it, he could be on it, or he could do what Herschel Walker did. He could push a bobsled. The Winter Olympics are about an hour and a half away, and he could do that. And I will take up for your point. I like Tim Tebow as well. I think he's a surrogate for all of us in a way that he keeps trying. He's always happy about it. He's never discouraged. He thanks everybody for giving him the opportunity. I sort of think he's Peter Pan. And I hope it works out, but eventually he's going to have to become an adult like the rest of us.
But you're not a lifetime athlete, Tone. You're not a lifetime athlete because it's Father Time. Either Father Time and he is 34, or you're just not good enough.
He's only
and
in
it's
his
okay.
30s.
He tried.
He's only in his
He's
30s.
so great for trying. God bless him. I love that about him too. But it's
Mike, I don't think he'll go camp to camp, but I think he'll try something. I do. Okay. Joel Embiid has agreed to a supermax deal with the 76ers that will keep him in Philadelphia through 2027 and will pay him a total of $261 million, including $54 million in the final year. The contract is fully guaranteed and it contains no catastrophic injury clause that would alleviate the financial burden on the 76ers. Wilbon, is this a risky investment by Philadelphia?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course it is, Tony. It's risky anytime you do this and the person hasn't yet gotten you to a conference final. It's risky just on the performance level, right? And then you got the health level. Although Embiid's been healthier, those first 2 years, he's missed. He redshirted, and he's been better. I think he missed 11 games this year before the playoffs. So Embiid has shown his willingness to play through these injuries. He played with a torn meniscus, or at least a partially torn meniscus, and he's a great player, all right? I know I'm higher on him than you are. I'll ride with Joel Embiid anytime. The question for the Sixers ain't about Joel Embiid primarily. The big risk is what are you going to do with Ben Simmons? Because they don't have a number 2 player. You need a number 2 guy who's also almost number 1. They don't know. We don't know whether he's going to be on that team. I would trade him, but it's less a risk than the Ben Simmons situation that's playing out in Philadelphia right now, but still a risk.
So my first reaction was, my God, this is a tremendous amount of money.
Yeah.
When you think about all the people in all the countries that say, if I could make $1 million a year, I would crawl through fire on broken glass. And it's just a staggering sum of money. Now, is he worth it? Okay. Let's go to those injuries and what he's done. Let's just go to the last 4 years. He missed 18 games 3 years ago, played 64. Missed 22 2 years ago, played 51. Missed 21 this past year, played 51. So he's now playing about 70% of the time. So is it risky? Yeah, it's risky. Is it stupid risky? No, I don't think it's stupid risky. And as you say, he tried to play in the playoffs with this injury, with a torn meniscus. Can they beat the Nets? I don't think they can beat the Nets. But like you, I'm not going to pin that all on Embiid. I mean, what are you doing with Ben Simmons? What is the rest of your team? So even and I think he's yappy, and I don't particularly like him, even I would try to keep him for as long as they're going to try and keep him. He's 27 years old. You can't, if you get rid of him, you're not getting another guy as good as him. You're not.
Tony, put it this way. They had to sign him. Even if we agree it's risky, they still had to do it. You ain't going to catch Brooklyn without Joel Embiid. All right, so you better make him the centerpiece, literally, and figure it.
What's first?
Toss-up, who should Sean Payton start in Game 1? Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston?
Sean Payton has had time to figure this out. He's had both these guys on his squad for more than a year now, and he has known that Drew Brees was going to leave eventually. So this shouldn't be that hard for him. If it was me, I would start Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston has a big arm. Jameis Winston won a national championship. Jameis Winston was the number 1 overall pick. of the NFL draft, and he's an actual true quarterback. Yes, he throws a lot of interceptions, Mike, but he throws a lot of touchdown passes too. Taysom Hill is a gimmick. He's fun to watch. I think if you put him out there all the time, I have the same fears for him that I have for Lamar Jackson, that he'll run all the time and he's going to get hurt. So I wouldn't do that. Jameis Winston has been more effective in the exhibition games so far than Taysom Hill. If we're talking about game one, Mike, I'm not saying you commit to him for the whole season, but I think you commit to him for the first game because he's a real quarterback.
Aren't there 2 more preseason games to go? Don't people like you slobber over football to the point, and everybody at every network, including this one, oh, football's back. Well, if it's back and there's
good.
2 more
Good for
preseason
ratings,
games to
good for
go,
money.
then play the damn preseason games and watch what they do. Play each one of them the first half in the next 2 games. Why have the games? You're a coach. Use your eyes. You can also use all the numbers that your people gather. Why not watch what they do? What do you want to have, a combine and determine it that way? Put them on the field and let them play. Let somebody separate himself from the other guy, if he hasn't already, in these 2 preseason games. Or get these damn games out of my life.
Wilbon, you're so angry today. You've used the word damn.
Your chains, Sarah Spain. I love your looks today. I was going to say RBG collar like you sometimes go with, but no, those are just, you got the chain. Matt Nagy saying Justin Fields will get more time with starters ahead of the Bears' second preseason game. Nagy also says Andy Dalton still projected to be the starter for week 1. There's a couple signs coming at us. Sarah Spain, what are you reading?
You said hold on to your chains. I think it was Samuel Jackson who said hold on to your butts. That's what's happening in Chicago. We are needing to calm ourselves down after what we heard out of not just the preseason game, but inside the Bears about his play against Miami when they had the joint practices. They are convinced we've got a QB, but we want him for a long time is what they're thinking. And I think that that's what's dominating what they're saying about Andy Dalton and what the choices that they're going to make, which is no matter what, unless it's an injury, Andy Dalton is starting week 1. And they want to get him through the first couple of weeks to make sure that they've got solidity on that offensive line that's had a lot of question marks throughout camp. And they also understand what a difficult market it is in to be a quarterback. The Bears haven't had a 4,000-yard in a season quarterback ever in the 16-game era of the NFL. Andy Dalton's done that twice. And while you may quibble about the way he's looked in the last couple of years, he has 100-plus starts in this league, and Justin has 0. They want to make sure when they put him in there, he can be great, because he's going to get knocked down by a fan base and a media just looking to pounce if he doesn't look great early on, and they want this guy to be ready to go for a decade-plus to come. That's, I think, where the patience is coming from.
You know, you said in the 16-game era, that era is over. Now we're playing 17 games, so they never had a 4,000
Never
yard.
happened.
Clinton Yates.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know that this is the way to make sure you get pressure off of him. If you're trying to save him, what's the point of saving him for just 2 or 3 games if there's just another guy that's waiting in the wings ready to get replaced? I think the strategy is very difficult. This is not like a Pat Mahomes situation where you sat him for an entire year and he got 4 sort of starts at the end of the season when it didn't really matter. If he's going to be playing and the cutoff from whether or not he's coming in is 3 or 4 games, well, you know, at that point, what's Andy Dalton doing? He's just sort of sitting there waiting for some guy to come and take his job. It's an awkward situation. I think they might have added a little bit more pressure than they think by speeding up the timeline, but then saying, oh, no, actually, we're not going to do it. Very bizarre.
Jackie.
I think it all depends on what Justin Fields has done on the field, Clinton. And what he's done is made everybody realize, maybe I am ready now. What I want to know is, why did the Chicago Bears ever promise Andy Dalton he would be the starter? Now, I know they hadn't traded for Justin Fields at that time when they signed him, but why would any franchise ever make that kind of declaration to a guy that has changed teams? And he's been a very good quarterback throughout his career, but I don't know why you make those kind of promises. Now, I do think Andy Dalton will start week 1, maybe 2, 3, 4. Who knows? We all know Justin Fields is the future. So anytime he looks good and anytime he looks ready to go, if you think he's your best chance to win, play him.
Right guy solo.
It's very simple.
Yeah. Jackie, you're so right, though, about the idea of promising him a job. It's Andy Dalton. But by the same token, Andy Dalton should be saying, I'm Andy Dalton. Why are you promising me a starting job? But Sarah, listen, she's the voice of reason on this one, believe it or not.
Okay.
You know, the season is so long. His career It's clearly his job. You know, you want to look at Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Clinton mentioned Patrick Mahomes. There have been great all-time legendary quarterbacks who didn't start right away. Let's just be patient. Let him work his way into the job. It's his job. Does it really matter week 1, week 6, week 8? I don't think
That's where it's been.
And that's the only reason I would say, to Clinton's point, it does matter that couple of games for a number of reasons. We're going to focus on the second half, 12 of 14, looks great, running touchdown, passing touchdown. But he also lost the ball, almost took a couple sacks, looked like a rookie QB, and that's what's happening in practice as well. Andy Dalton right now is consistently outplaying him in terms of over the course of an entire practice, and then Justin Fields does things that Andy Dalton will never physically be able to do in his lifetime. But again, those 100-plus starts, you put Andy Dalton out there, and again, that offensive line, you got to get that figured out before you throw a kid out.
I just don't think that if you don't think that he's going to be the difference between the playoffs and not the playoffs for this Bears team, week 3 versus week 6 doesn't matter at all. Let the kid watch a whole season and maybe he'll get better.
Well, that defense is playoff. I mean, this team was a playoff team. The defense is playoff ready.
We'll see.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
One more story here. Once again, a veteran quarterback and a rookie quarterback and a coach try to make a decision. But, you know, Belichick doesn't say anything. So we go to New England for Cam Newton.
I mean, y'all sit up here asking silly questions to me, and I'm looking at y'all with the same thing. So I don't know what y'all want me to say. You're like, no, you know that. You know he hasn't said that. So for you to just ask the question, you know, it is what it is.
Of course, Cam's not trying to speak for Belichick or get in Belichick's head. But, Jackie, maybe you can get in Belichick's head for us. Go ahead.
I'd be happy to do that if you'd like. I will tell you this. Bill Belichick will play whoever he thinks gives him the best chance to win. He clearly has an affinity for Cam Newton dating back to last season when he came into that team under very unusual circumstances after a long injury history. He had serious injuries and performed adequately for them. But if it turns out that Mac Jones is ready to go, and I don't think it will be week 1, it might be week 4, it might be week 5. I don't know when it will be. If Mac Jones turns out to be the guy in practice that is the better quarterback, he will play them. You can't fool the players. The players know in practice who's moving the ball better, who's better. So if that's what Bill Belichick decides, there's no sentiment here. Bill Belichick doesn't deal in sentiment in these games. He just doesn't.
Yeah, so he made a promise. We did not make the playoffs last year, and I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to try to put the best team on the field that gives me the best chance to win. No one's guaranteed anything. You're not guaranteed playing time. Maybe your salary is the only thing you're guaranteed in the NFL, and sometimes that's iffy. I think it's going to be Cam Newton, knowing that right this moment, he gives him the best chance to win.
Right.
Yeah, we're not hearing a lot about a big difference so far in this competition. And by the way, does anyone notice it's Cam and Mac? Mac and Cam, it's the same 3 letters. Anyway, it's weird. But I think that Bill Belichick is really interested in giving Cam as much of a shot as he can. He likes his leadership. He likes what he brings. And he's going to give him enough chances to prove that he can hang on to the job before he thrusts Mac. And he's not in a hurry to push him in. But to Jackie's point, they believe that they can contend. And so if it's time for Mac to go in and he is outperforming, he's going to do it.
And that's why I think Cam is annoyed with this situation. He's enough of a veteran to realize I might not have won this job yet, and if I end up getting beat out by this kid, that just is what it is in the NFL, and y'all don't have to make a controversy out of something that's not yet a controversy if in the team or on the field. They're just playing football. It's still daggone.
Week 4, Patriots, Buccaneers. Tom Brady's on the other side of the field. Jackie, do you think Belichick would play Mac Jones there just to draw the parallel? Oh, no.
No. He'd only play him if he thought he was ready.
It's hot.
No sentiment, Tony. You're not listening.
It's very hot
You must
here,
be
isn't it?
hot. You're too hot.
Cam out there for
Kyle Russell. Come on. Sarah Spain, your number 1 takeaway from the Tebow tight end experiment.
That it's okay to follow your dreams so that you have no regrets and never wonder if you could have made it. It's just maybe there are some people around you that should end those dreams a little earlier if they can tell you're not going to make it.
Frank?
Well, this is a coach, Urban Meyer, fail, but this guy, they've done a lot for each other's careers. You gave him a chance. I like the fact that they cut their losses early. They didn't let it go on for a long time. Nothing wrong with that. Good job by both sides.
Sarah, should you win? 3 words or fewer. What's your FaceTime?
Cubs, afraid bad.
And Frank Isola?
Popovich.
I don't think you need to be afraid the Cubs are bad, Sarah. I think we've already learned that. Go ahead, Frank Isola.
We all love covering the one and only Greg Popovich. There's a video of him that's circulating. He addressed the team after they won the gold medal, and he talked about the pundits that questioned the team roster makeup and whether or not we'd win. Well, first of all, one of those players, Kevin Love, left the team, and Jerry Colangelo, your boss, criticized him. And oh, by the way, you finished 7th at the World Cup 2 years ago. Then you lost your first 2 exhibition games. So it was fair for everyone to criticize you. I like Greg Popovich, but he had a partially torn meniscus and he played in the playoffs against Atlanta. But injuries have been an issue, and he's never been out of the second round. And to answer your last question, the team right now, to me, not good enough to win 4 playoff rounds to win a championship. No.
To build your team around the center in today's NBA. Jackie Mack, I'll bring you in here thinking that.
Absolutely. There hasn't been an MVP at center, unless you count Jokic, which I don't, because I don't really think he's a center.